Hello, good morning. My name is Pavel from Montreal province, Quebec, in Canada, and I do welcome you in my 5 to 10 minute series of Spanish grammar analysis. Usually, what I do, I choose some articles or some exercises and specifically practice those. So, in this series, I have prepared the Spanish passive voice compared to the Spanish active voice. So, without further ado, let's start.
Well, passive voice in Spanish. So we need to understand that passive voice emphasizes the action rather than the subject performing the action. In the passive voice, the subject is mentioned always at the end of the sentence and becomes what we call a passive agent. Now, there are two ways to form the passive voice. The first one is ser plus past participle of the main verb plus por. And the second way, se plus third person of the verb. Okay, so let's try some exercises where we will study first active voice and immediately passive voice. Let's start. Well, let me read the sentences first in active voice and then in passive voice. And after we have read all of them, then we will analyze individually the grammatical part of it. So let's start with Lina. Lina no comerá el pastel de naranja. This is active. Passive, el pastel de naranja no será comido por Lina. Yo compré dos pequeños pescados. Passive voice, los dos pequeños pescados fueron comprados por mí. Rachel y Kendra cantaron mi canción favorita. Passive voice. Mi canción favorita fue cantada por Rachel y Kendra. Mis amigas han escogido el mismo vestido. Passive voice. El mismo vestido ha sido escogido por mis amigas. Las niñas completan el crucigrama. El crucigrama fue completado por las niñas. Mi hermana lee este libro de poemas. Este libro de poemas es leído por mi hermana. Los estudiantes leen el discurso. El discurso es leído por los estudiantes. Mi abuelita cuenta historias de terror. Las historias de terror son contadas por mi abuelita. Jake encontró el dinero en la lavadora. El dinero en la lavadora fue encontrado por Jake. And the last one, la ambulancia conduce el paciente al hospital. El paciente es conducido al hospital por la ambulancia. So as you can see that in the active form, the object of the sentence is at the end. However, in the passive form, the object that was in active form becomes the subject in the passive form. Well, let's start analyzing it. So I have divided those 10 sentences into a series of two. As you can see on this slide, Lina no comerá el pastel de naranja and el pastel de naranja no será comido por Lina. E poi yo compré dos pequeños pescados. Y poi los dos pequeños pescados fueron comprados por mí. So in each slide I will do two sentences. So what do we have first? The active form, Lina no comerá el pastel de naranja. That means that Lina will not eat the orange cake. Lina, in this case, is the subject. Comerá is the future tense of the verb comer. And el pastel de naranja is orange cake. When we make from this sentence the passive form, then we have to put that subject of active form into object of the active form into subject in the passive form. That means that el pastel de naranja, which now is becoming subject, no será comido. In such a case, the verb será, which is the helping verb from the infinitive
Ser,
has to be used if we want to express a passive form always. And after this helping verb será, the past participle of the main verb comer has to be, as I said, in the past participle. That's why that sentence, el pastel de naranja no será comido por Lina. Second sentence, yo compré dos pequeños pescados, which is the active form, I will buy small fish. In that case, yo compré, yo is the subject and object is pequeños pescados. When we change it into a passive form, pequeños pescados will become the subject in that passive form. So, los dos pequeños pescados fueron comprados por mí. That means that this auxiliary or helping verb
ser,
is in the past tense. So, yo compré is in the past tense, in the simple past tense, in the first sentence. In the second sentence, where the passive form is quite evident, has to be also that helping verb
ser,
in the past tense, followed by, again, by the past participle. Comprado. It is coming from the infinitive comprar. And why do we have S at the end, comprados? Because los dos pequeños is a plural, so there has to be an accord in the gender and the number. Well, let's examine the second pair of the sentences. The first one, Rachel y Kendra cantaron mi canción favorita. This is an active form, and cantaron is the simple past of the verb cantar. Now, passive form, mi canción favorita fue cantada por Rachel y Kendra. So as we can see, now the subject in this passive form that was object in the active form is followed by the adjective favorita and has to be at the end with a because mi canción is feminine. And then we have fue cantada. Fue is the simple past of the verb ser. Has to be followed by the past participle of the verb cantar, which is in the past participle form. And that will give us mi canción favorita fue cantada. Again, at the end of cantada we have a. Why? Because mi canción favorita is feminine. Next one. Mis amigas han escogido el mismo vestido. My friends have chosen the same dress. Now, this is active form and it is in the present perfect. In the present perfect, we have to use the auxiliary haber, which in this case is in the third person plural, followed by the past participle of the verb escoger, escogido. And that will give us the active form in the present perfect tense. changing this active form into the passive form, we have to make slight changes. El mismo vestido ha sido escogido por mis amigas. So that combination of ha sido escogido, that means that ha is the auxiliary verb of the verb haber in the third person singular. Sido is the past participle of the helping verb estar, and this is followed by the past participle of the main verb escoger, which is escogido. So the sentence reads, El mismo vestido ha sido escogido por mis amigas. Well, let's move to the next set of sentences. The first one, las niñas completan el crucigrama. El crucigrama fue completado por las niñas. Again, the first sentence, which is in the active form, basically means that the girls are completing or finishing the crosswords. Well, again, the subject is el crucigrama, which becomes the object in the passive form. Here we also use fue completado. Fue is the simple past of the infinitive ser. So that fue is in the third person in the past tense. And because we are expressing a passive form, we always have to use ser as the helping verb. Completado is the past participle of completar. And again, how do we create the past participle from the verbs that end in ar? We remove ar and we are adding ado. Entonces, el crucigrama fue completado por las niñas. That means that crossword was finished by those girls. Next one, mi hermana lee este libro de poemas, which means that my sister is reading the poetry book. Este libro de poemas es leído por mi hermana is the passive form. Again, the poemas or in the active form was the subject, was the object, which becomes the subject in the passive form. And in this example, este libro de poemas es leído, it is in the present passive term. So again, it is the verb ser in the third person singular, followed by the past participle leído, which is coming from the infinitive leer. Well, let's look at the next set of sentences. The first one, mi abuelita cuenta historias de terror. This is the active form. Las historias de terror son contadas por mi abuelita. This is a passive form. So we know that in the active form, the verb cuentar is in the third person singular. The object is terror. Now, the terror or las historias de terror are becoming subject in the passive form. And it followed by son contadas. Again, we have to use the helping verb estar in the third person plural because las historias, that's plural, and contadas is the past participle of contar. In that case, we have to add also s after contadas because las historias is plural. Next one. Jake encontró el dinero en la lavadora. Jake found money. Now, lavadora is the object. Now, el dinero en la lavadora is the subject in the passive form. Fue encontrado por Jake. Fue, again, this is the past tense of the verb estar. Fue is in the third person. Encontrado is the past participle of encontrar. And we have the last sentence. La ambulancia conduce el paciente al hospital. El paciente es conducido al hospital por la ambulancia. Again, in the first sentence, which is the active form, Conducir is the infinitive. Conduce is the third person singular because it is the la ambulancia conduce. Again, the subject of the first sentence is al hospital. Sorry, the object of the sentence is al hospital. Now the object becomes the subject in the second sentence. El paciente es conducido, okay, al hospital. So, es conducido. Es is the third person singular of the verb estar, and conducido is the past participle of the verb conducir. That creates the sentence: El paciente es conducido al hospital por la ambulancia. And this is all for today's lecture, the analysis of the Spanish grammar. I hope that it was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, leave the notes, and I'm looking forward to post my 5 to 10, in this case it was about 15 minutes of the Spanish grammar analysis in the future. Bye bye.